All right, so in this video, we're going to be comparing the stories that you guys wrote to the actual graphs. So at this point, you can take out your actual graphs that you made yesterday as you read the different stories. You can compare to see how it looks in comparison to the real graph. All right, so the first one, graph 1. So it says, a man is riding his bike around a park to his car. He gets to his car, which is 1 mile away, in 3 minutes. He hopped in his car and put his bike in the trunk. Then he rode 4 miles to his house in 2 minutes. So one of the issues that I noticed with this specific story is that nowhere does it say that that the man starts 5 miles from his house. Okay, so if I were to be graphing this just based on the story, I would be starting here, all right, at the origin. So but it should have started here at the 5, all right. And so it says first that he gets to his car, which is 1 mile away, in 3 minutes. So this is where they're talking about here. So 1 mile away, and it takes 3 minutes. Okay. He hopped in his car and put his bike in the trunk. So this means that, you know, he's not really moving, but unfortunately in the story it does not give us a amount of time that he stood there. So we just kind of had to guess with our line. And then it says he rode 4 miles to his house in 2 minutes. So then he rides 4 miles to his house, and that takes 2 minutes from here. Okay, so that was the first graph. All right, the second graph. Okay, so here's this one. Let me back that up a little bit so we can see the whole graph. All right, so this story says, Medea ran from the police in 4 seconds, then fell for 3 seconds, ran back to the police to steal their wallets for 2 seconds, then walked away for 4 seconds, then walked back to them for 2 seconds because she got tired. Okay, so the issue with this story was that we know the seconds, but unfortunately we were not giving any distances here. So it was pretty much impossible for us to graph the graph accurately because we didn't know any of the distances that Medea was running. So the seconds, first it says 4 seconds. Okay, so the time is right there. But we just needed to know that she ran for 8 meters. Then she fell for 3 seconds. So here she is laying on the ground. But that's actually, according to the graph, that's only 2 seconds here. So that's from the 4 to the 6 marks. That's only 2 or 3 seconds, or yeah, 6 seconds there total. And then for 2 seconds she walked away. All right, so from here to here. Okay, so from 6 to 8, that's 2 seconds. And then for 4 seconds she walked back to them. But here this means she was resting, so that part was completely forgotten. So the rest of it just kind of doesn't make sense according to the story. Okay, so this would have been really, really hard to graph accurately. All right, the next graph that we have here. All right, so this was measured in seconds and meters. So it says Nate is getting ready to run. He starts at 12 minutes, ties his shoes for 4 seconds. He takes a deep breath, then sprints 12 meters in 4 seconds. He's tired and takes a break for 10 seconds. Then Nate remembered that he forgot his phone, so Nate ran back 20 meters back to his house because he had to get his phone. He got tired again and rested for 4 seconds. So if we follow the story, so it says Nate is getting ready to run. All right, he starts at 12 meters and ties his shoes for 4 seconds. So he starts at 12 meters, ties his shoes for 4 seconds. So that matches up. He takes a deep breath, then sprints 12 meters in 4 seconds. So he sprints 12 meters, so that takes him up to the 24. All right, and then he did that in, let's see. He actually did that in 6 seconds instead of 4 seconds like it says in the story. So he's tired and takes a break for 10 seconds. All right, so here he is at the 6. or excuse me, the 10, and then he goes over here to the 20, so that's 10 seconds, so that's correct. Then Nate remembered that he forgot his phone, so Nate ran back 20 meters, so he's going the opposite direction now. So that is from 24 to 4, so that is 20 meters. And he ran back to his house because he had to get his phone. Then he got tired again and rested for 4 seconds. So the rest of the graph follows. So the only area of this story that kind of got a little wonky according to the original graph was just this second time right here. Okay, but the rest was all good. And your graph should have been very, very, very similar to this one here. All right, the next one that we have, so graph 4. All right, so this one says the Smiths go on a road trip. They drove 3 kilometers in 5 hours, okay? So here they are, they drive 3 kilometers and that takes 5 hours, so that part checks out. They stop at a park for 3 hours, okay? So if here's 3 hours, they're not moving, so that checks out. Then they enter on the highway to Wichita Falls, stay on the highway, and drive 9 kilometers in 4 hours. So we're here at the 3, and we go up to the 12, so that's 9 kilometers. All right, and that is a distance of 4 hours. So then it says, then they stop for lunch for 2 hours. All right, so here they are at the 12, and they leave at the 14, so that is 2 hours, so that checks out. Then they enter back on the highway, drive for 8-hour drive home. So they drive 8 hours home, all right? And so from the story, I guess we're just assuming that the home is just back to the 0 distance mark. So they drive 8 hours, okay, back home. So your graph should have looked very, very similar to this one as well for number 4. All right, for graph 5, here's graph 5. So we've got the time and we've got the distance. I actually had to back this one up even more because it's so big. All right, and so graph 5 says a man was walking his dog while at the park. He stopped to put a leash on his dog's collar for 3 seconds. So here he is. So he's immediately stopping, all right, and putting the leash on the collar for 3 seconds. So that checks out, okay? So he stopped, no motion. He then walked around the 8-meter track for 8 seconds. So he's got a change in distance of 8 meters, okay? That checks out. And the 8 seconds, so it'd be 11 minus 3. So that's actually, yeah, so that's 8, okay? So 8 seconds. The man and his dog took a rest for 5 seconds. Okay, so there's the man and the dog resting. Then they continued to run 6 meters for 1 second. Okay, now the only issue you might have run into here is that it doesn't tell you that there was a change in direction. All right, so you wouldn't have known to go down with the line, so you may have drawn your line up like this, but the story should have said that he changed direction somehow, so the line should be going down. So then he continued to run, so 6 meters for 1 second. He then stopped to pick up his dog's poop for 1 second, so there he is picking up the poop, but that actually lasts for 2 seconds according to the graph, because that's 18 and 20. So then after he jogged 2 meters for 2 seconds, so here he is, he's jogging 2 meters, but that's actually, let's see, that's 2, 4, so that's actually 5 seconds. And then he stopped for 2 seconds to talk to his friend, but he actually stopped for 4 seconds instead of 2. All right, so graph probably didn't look like this. Your graph probably went up like this and then kind of stopped off for a minute, then went down and then went over. So up to this point, okay, your graph should have looked similar, and then after that, things will probably get a little wonky. All right, the next graph that we have here. So it says Ella starts at 3 meters. So here we are, we're starting 3 meters, okay? So in 2 seconds and 1.5 meters, she walks to her hairdresser. So there's 2 seconds, and then she walks 1.5 meters. But unfortunately, we don't know which direction she's walking. This doesn't really tell us a direction. So if I were graphing this, I probably would have made the line go up instead of down, okay? So in 1 second, she walks to the hallway. So there's, 1 second, but actually the next line is 2 seconds because that's 2 and 4. So something happened there. And this is showing that she should be pausing here and not walking. So something happened here. So then it says in 1 second she walks, excuse me, she pauses for a second. All right, so somehow this line got totally skipped. So this line is about walking in the hallway, it seems like. Then it takes her 2.5 seconds to go back. So now she's going back the way she came. So your graph probably looks nothing like this one, okay? The story's a little bit confusing, and then they forgot this entire section right here. So, yeah, yours probably starts at the 3,